Hello and welcome to Elevate Us. This is a platform about elevating the Black community, what we need to do to see some change in the Black community so that we can, start taking our rightful place in America. So, we just finished out Black History Month, and so we do coffee and conversation here in Las Vegas every Tuesday, and it's at Mariposas, and it's hosted by GoUrbanVegas.com. So for the whole month of February, we talked about the Black community, what it looks like. We talked about us in business with each other. We talked about how we transact with one another, and we also talked about trust in the Black community, which is really major, because we lack so much trust with each other. And that's kind of, I want to talk about today the human experience of being Black in America. So we can't discuss any issues of moving forward until we talk about just us and our experience, what we're going through here while being Black in America, shall we say. So I have to do a little clarifying too, because the last time I spoke, I uh, I talked about not living in the past, and that was taken by people in a wrong perspective. So you have to understand what I'm saying. Our history is our history. And when you talk about African American history, Black history, that is American history. There is no separation of the two, because America is built on us. We're the ones that built this country. Our ancestors did this. So there's no separation of the two. It's history. And history is the facts. It's what happened. And of course, as it gets told in different places and different times and different perspectives, history is always going to be, so whoever is telling the story, it's going to be their version of that story. But what I want to say is that, of course, we're never going to forget our history. We're never going to forget our past. We're never going to forget what these people have done to us since we've been in this country. Those are things that we're not supposed to forget. You're supposed to take these experiences and you're supposed to learn from them so we don't keep repeating the same cycles over and over again. So I want everyone to understand that when I say don't live in the past, I'm talking about the emotions of it. Of course, there's things that charge us, and we feel very passionate about it. So those emotions are the fuel that pushes you to do things differently. But don't live in the emotions of being a victim. That's exactly what I was trying to tell everyone. We don't want to be a victim. You know, Black America has to stop. We have to stop being victims to what happens to us. And I know, people say, well, we're a victim every day just being here in this country. That is true. But when you change your personal reality, okay, changing your personal reality is changing what's going on in your world, changing what's going on in your life. You do that, and it starts by changing your personality. So that means that you have to become a new version of you. You have to become a version of the person that you see yourself being, living in a better life and a better existence than what you're living in. So that's what we're going to talk about, the human experience, and, having the human experience of being Black in America. So we'll start with first the human experience. So, as human beings, we are put on this planet, and we are all energetically connected to each other. Our energies, if you listen to a lot of scientists talk, they'll tell you that the cells from your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, and going all the way back, all of those cells exist inside of the female body. So if all of those cells exist within you, that means that you have an energy connection to everyone from your past. And then when you think about that on just the wide scale, that at some point makes all of us connected. It connects all of us. And That's the, the part of the human experience is everything that we come in contact, everything that we do, every experience that we have, it all connects an emotion because you tie an emotion to that experience. So whether grew up as a kid and you went to Disneyland and, you got that in your memory bank and you remember how you felt while you were at Disneyland, you were happy and you were excited and you was running around having a good time, you store that. That's an experience, and that experience has that emotion. So anytime you think about that, then you start feeling good again. You start remembering how you got on the rides and you remember, eating, popcorn, whatever it was. And you can always recall that memory. And that memory, it feels good. So that's something that will start to shape and mold your personality. But if your experiences have always been, bad experiences, and that's, growing up in a traumatic household, watching mom and dad fight, watching, somebody get beat up outside, going to school and being bullied, going through all these different experiences, then it really starts to shape you and it molds you. That's how you become a product of your environment, is your personality starts to get shaped by all of these experiences that you're having. And once you set that in, and every single day when you relive yourself in all of these experiences, then you set the groundwork for who you become as a person, and then that really sets the tone for your personal reality. And being stuck in those emotions is what keeps you stuck in life, and that's what keeps you from progressing or from moving forward, because you're so stuck in the past of these emotions that you don't know how to visualize a better future for yourself. And we can say that, well, it's hard to see a good future when you grew up in, the projects, and dad was on drugs and mom was abusive, and it's just it's hard for some people to visualize that. But I said it before, there's people that do it every single day. There's people that grow up in the harshest realities, and just by changing their perspective and their view of the future, they work their way out of those situations, and they use that not as an emotional uh, tool. They use it to fuel themselves to go to a future that they see for themselves. So when I say that you change your personal reality by changing your personality, and that right there, that's not from me. That's Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know who listens to him or not, but just by listening to him, he gives you the science behind who we are as people. And when you think about that, it's like when you think about changing the way you think and the way you view things, instead of saying, and I said this last time, but instead of saying, oh, I can't move forward because we live in the projects. You know, I remember I used to talk to people that lived in, different projects in LA, and they had never seen Hollywood. They'd never been outside of their projects. They, go to school in those areas, they go home, they shop in those areas, and they never go anywhere outside of this area that they live in. So they never see anything different. So they're going to continue to stay in that area. They're going to raise their kids to be in there. They're going to, there's something that's just going to go on generation after generation after generation. Never going to, get out and never going to see anything other than what they're looking at. And that becomes their personal reality. That's where they are. They're not moving forward. And my son, he calls them NPCs, non-participating. What is it? Non-participating characters. I thought that was funny because when you look at the video game and you got some people in the background that's just waving and just doing all kinds of stuff, they're just there just to fill in the background, But then you got your main character, so you have to become your main character of your story by changing the way that you do things, changing your attitude, changing how you're emotionally connected to your past. So it doesn't matter what kind of situation you grew up in. So again, I say, I grew up, I was molested as a little girl. I've been raped. I've been to prison. I have done like anything you can imagine, single mother, 5 children. I did it all. And, of course, I was a hard head. So that's why I was always putting myself in these situations. But I didn't let that stop me. Just right when I got out of prison, the first thing I did was I went to school and I started educating myself. And I went on this journey of educating myself, because I decided that that's not going to be me. I'm not going back and forth to jail. That's not going to be my personal reality of me going and having all these felonies. So instantly I changed that. That's a mindset in my mind. And I didn't know any of this back then, but I just knew in my mind I didn't like the experience and I wasn't going back. So, you know what? Let's change some things up. Let's do things differently. All right. I was like, okay, I just went through this prison system and I didn't like the way that the law worked against me. So let me go learn the law. So I went to school to be a paralegal. Then I went to school pre law because I want to know what they're talking about. I never again want to be in a situation where I'm sitting in a courtroom and these people are talking around me and I don't know what they're talking about when they're talking about my life and my future. So that's, just one of the ways that we start to change things and start changing the way that we handle ourselves while being black in America. We have to, while we're here, we have to educate ourselves. We have to know what these people are talking about. And you see so many men that are in prison and they go in and they start learning the law. They go to religion. They go to, they start educating themselves on things because now they're realizing that they're part of a system that they have no control over because they don't know anything about it. So that's why you see people go to jail and they say, oh, yeah, you got to jail and you suddenly picked up a Bible or, you start picking up law books. Well, yes, because now you're in that situation, you're in that reality, and you're making the determination that this is not going to be my future. I'm changing things around. I'm going to make my future different. So um, one of the things, I have a 17-year-old son, and I can tell you that when he leaves, when he walks out the door, I literally get PTSD because I am so scared of him being outside and having an encounter with the police, with law enforcement. So it's like every time we see something happen in the news and we see another young black man is killed by the police because he was out just doing something simple like taking a jog or, just driving in his car. It's like you're, as a black mother, having a son in this country, even daughters, but just the son, because that they're on a mission to kill our black men. It's terrifying. So the conversations that me and my son have are, don't fight the police. You're not going to win that fight with them because they're already out there. They're already equipped to kill you. They're already on that mission. So the minute you show aggression, they're going to immediately counteract your aggression with more aggression. And the first thing they're going to do is pick up their gun and they're going to shoot you and kill you because that's what they're out there to do. So you can say that, well, I'm not going to let them disrespect me. And that's fine. If that's the stand that you want to take, that's fine because that stand can get you killed. And you have to think to yourself, do I want to go home? Or do I, do I want to be able to get past this situation? Or do I want to come out here and fight with this police officer and let him kill me? So that's all a part of changing your personality. You know, Part of changing your personality is when these police officers approach you, you can't immediately take an aggressive stand because the minute you take an aggressive stand, they're going to take an aggressive stand. And I know some people are saying, well, that doesn't work. But I can tell you this. Me and my ex, we were in the car driving one night and the all the windows in my car, they're dark tint. And the police, they come over to the window and the first thing he does is, he's like, he has an attitude. He rolls the window down this much. And the police is like, sir, can you roll down the window? I'm on the passenger side. I roll down all the windows. First of all, I'm going to show you that we're not a threat. But just by his behavior, I could see the attitude of the police officer instantly going to kill mode. So and it's like you got to stop and think. You got to stop and think to yourself, what are you proving? What are you proving by taking this aggressive stand with this police officer? So I told him, roll the window down. We're not doing anything. We're driving. Roll the window down. Say, when I tell my son all the time, when these police officers approach you, say, good evening, sir. How are you? Hi, sir. How are you? Smile. Don't look at them mean and aggressive. If you're legitimately not doing nothing, smile. Hey, sir, how you doing? If he says, give me your driver's license, yes, here, give him your driver's license. Because your fight is not with that police officer. Most of these police officers, they don't even know the law. They don't even know the laws themselves. So that's like you're trying to fight a pit bull, and the pit bull doesn't understand the commands that you're giving him. You're not going to win. The pit bull is going to attack. So your fight is not with this police officer. We have to start thinking better. We have to start doing things different. Your fight is in the courtroom while you're still alive. So you have to start thinking more logical and less emotionally. And as Black people, we are very emotional. We think with our emotions before anything else. So you have to put your emotions to the side. Who cares? You're being disrespected. You're not going to be disrespected. And I've seen this a couple of times now with police officers. I've seen it a couple of times when a police officer approaches Black men, and I've seen this on a lot of occasions. The guys that smile and say, "Hey, officer, how you doing?" The officers let their guard down a little bit. They're not on such alert. They roll the windows down. Can I get your driver's license? Yes, sir. I'm reaching in my pocket right now. Let me get you my driver's license. Here you go. Can I get your registration? You know what? If you want, you could come over here. You can open up this door. You can go into the glove compartment and you could get my registration and pull it out yourself. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, that's a violation. It is. But guess what? Do you want to fight this person? Do you want this person to kill you? I saw a video the other day and it was a Black family and they pulled into a Starbucks and the mother's in the car. She's got her daughters in the car and the officer comes over and he tells her, there's some burglaries going on and people breaking into cars, blah, blah, blah. And he said, so she's like, okay, that's fine. Thank you for informing me. And he said, can I see your driver's license? And she's like, no, I'm not giving you my driver's license. Okay, I understand that we don't always want to be subjected to this. But you're fighting ignorance. You're fighting someone that is completely ignorant, someone that has a dark energy, and someone that's already prepared to kill you. So of course the next events that happen are, she's taken out, she's handcuffed, she's roughed up, she's thrown into a police car, her daughters are taken out of the car, her daughters are handcuffed, they're thrown into a police car. And as a mother, I could tell you right now, I can't even imagine my daughters being taken out of the car and being handcuffed by the police. I would lose it. So it's like we just diffuse these situations before they even get to this point. Stop pumping your chest out. Stop sitting up here thinking, you know what, this police officer, he ain't finna disrespect me. This police officer will kill you, and he don't care about your respect. This man does not respect you. This man don't care about you. This man don't care about human life because he has been trained to kill you. So you have to make a decision and you can't use that. You can't use emotion. You have to use logic. And you have to say to yourself, am I going to fight this man who's already in an aggressive mode? Or am I just going to go ahead and comply, give him what I want? If I feel violated, I can always go and file a complaint with the police department, right? But you go home and you live, you go see your family. I've been stopped by the police several times. The minute they ask me for something, there's times I've been stopped and I know I didn't do nothing. And I remember one time I was driving through Texas, and I know everybody be like, "Oh, I'm moving to Texas," but I tell you, I could not live in Texas. But I was driving through Texas, and a little police officer, he jumps out the car, he got on a little deputy hat, walk up to the window, he come up to me, and he's like, "Do you know how fast you was going?" And so me, California, I was like, "Well, I was driving with the speed of traffic," and this man went off. He's like, "Well, if you was driving with the speed of traffic, I wouldn't have pulled you over." right? So I seen that and I was like, oh, okay, he on that. So I had to now, come back around. I'm so sorry, officer. I didn't realize that I was speeding. That's it. I apologize, sir. And give me your license registration. Yes, sir. License registration. There you go. And after all this screaming, he told me, he was like, well, just slow yourself down. Yes, sir. Gave me all my stuff back, no ticket, and I drove off. But that could have went in so many different ways, because I could have been argumentative with him. I could have said, you just pulled me over because I'm black, or I could have. It could have went any other kind of way, But you stop, and I just really want our black men to start kind of using this, because when you change your personality and you start thinking from a place, you don't go back into all your dark emotions of your past. You don't start pulling up all your trauma and you start acting out of that survival mode trauma, because we live in survival mode constantly. But when you stop living in that survival mode trauma and you start thinking with your heart and you start thinking with your mind, your personality is going to change. You're going to feel lighter and you're going to handle situations differently, because you have to realize that we are a light energy. We have just been infiltrated by a dark energy. And this dark energy that is surrounding us here in America is constantly attacking us. But when you remain in that light energy and that's coming from your heart space and from your mind, then you're protected. You don't understand the kind of protection that you will have against all these different things that's going on around you, when you start coming from a place of love. And I know a lot of people, like I said last time, a lot of these thugs, you're not going to have them just switch up and turn around and start having a loving heart, because they've been so programmed and conditioned to kill and to fight and to be in survival. So that's already the mode that they're in. So anybody that's listening right now and that's not the heart space that you're in, then this message may not be for you. But maybe it's something that you're listening to right now and you're thinking to yourself that you want to change some things in your life and you want to get out of these spaces. But you got to get out of, you got to stop living in survival mode, and you got to start putting yourself, and you got to start thinking and acting, in a more light, using your inner light, letting that shine. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for us, and there's some situations that are gonna happen, and regardless of how we act, these situations will happen. Unfortunately, we all got an exit date, and we don't know how we're gonna exit. But that date that was meant for us to go is the date that it is. There's nothing we could do about that. And sometimes some of these people die just so we can have change, just so we can use the emotion behind that to fuel a change, to start, making some movement and some progress towards things. But if we are constantly going out here and we're encountering these police officers on a daily basis with that personality of aggression and anger and survival mode and, ready to fight, then you just have to understand that more than likely they're going to win. Because like I said, they have the law behind them, they have their gun behind them, and they have their community behind them. So the more you fight, the more they're gonna fight, and next thing they just gonna come out, they're gonna kill you, and that's gonna be the end of the story. So it's like we have to start thinking in a more logical mind. We have to start making better moves. Because a lot of you guys out there, we need y'all. We got a bigger fight that's going to be ahead, and we need you guys to be, more organized. But we spend so much time fighting each other, which we have to dive into that at another time, but we fight each other so much that we can't even organize ourselves to so that we can focus on the bigger fight that's ahead of us. And when you go into when you start thinking about how we're going to make some change here, and how the black community will start to uplift ourselves and start elevating out of these conditions that that America, that white America has us in, it's all going to start with changing our personalities. It's all going to start with us, getting out of these aggressive moods. A lot of it's going to come with, we're going to start have to, cleansing our energy and learning how to walk in a different light and stop living in the past. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Stop living in the emotions of the past. The past is the past. It happened. It shaped you, it formed you, it made you into who you are. But you can't live in those emotions every day. You have to now live into the emotions of the vision of your future and who you see yourself being. So let's chew on that a little bit. And I know that I'm always not going to resonate with everybody. People are always going to feel the way that they feel. There's always going to be differences of opinion, and that's perfectly fine. But um I just want those that have an ear to hear what I'm saying. If you are interested in doing an energy cleansing, contact me. Let me know, and we can start working on that, because once you start clearing that energy, that energy out of you, that negative energy, that hurt energy, that trauma energy out of you, then it opens you up to be more creative, because you're not holding on to all that energy. And that takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy to feel this way and to keep you in that space. So there's ways of getting it cleaned out, there's ways of getting beyond that. So I also want to talk about, so this is my workbook that I made. All right, this is the Elevate Us workbook. And this is just helping you take baby steps to change you and to change the way that you're living in your life. If you are interested in having a different future and having and being the best version of you, this is a must get book. It's a planner, and it's a journal. It's a journal. It talks about discipline, and it talks about love, and it shows you how to budget your finances. So it's a transformation guide, and it's just the first step in making small changes. So it's available on Amazon, and if you can, I'll put the link somewhere. I'll put the link in the video so that way you'll be able to order this on Amazon. All right, and then also I want to talk about. I have a website, and it's easydaysminimart.com. So on this website, I'm building up this to be a hub for small Black-owned businesses. Right now, it's a resource that you can use if you come to Las Vegas and you're looking for Black-owned businesses. On the page, you'll be able to find Black-owned restaurants. You'll be able to find Black-owned attorneys, and I'm going to keep adding as we go along. It's the website that was tied into the store that I had, and I didn't want to lose it because I did have kind of a worldwide view. I had people looking in Paris and in London and in Africa. I didn't want to lose that view. So I said, you know what, let me take this website, and we're going to turn it into a hub for small Black-owned businesses. So eventually, I would love for it to be a place where, if you're in a certain city and you're looking for a Black-owned business that you want to patronize, you'll be able to get onto that website, find that city, go into that city and find that particular Black-owned business that you're looking for, whether it be a restaurant or whether it be beauty supply or, whatever it is that you're looking for. This is going to be that roadmap to small Black-owned businesses. So it's Easy Days, EASYDAYS, minimart.com. So make sure you go check that out. And I have some other stuff that I'm working on. I'm not going to talk about it just yet, but I got some real exciting stuff coming up soon, and we're going to get to work on that. So um, once again, this is Elevate Us. We are elevating the Black community. We got to start by changing your personal reality by changing your personality. All right. So that's where we're going to start. Before we could talk about making any moves in unifying the Black community, we got to work on that personality. We got to start coming from a more loving place and having more respect for each other as Black people in America. We are all fighting the same fight, and we're not going to be able to fight this fight alone. Hold on. So we got to be able to come together, come up with a plan, strategize, and make sure that we are fighting this fight together. All right. Reach out to me. If you want to, like I said, if you want to do an energy cleansing, let me know. And also, I have some cleansing teas and sea moss. I have some sea moss. All right. All right, you guys, hit me up. I'll be back here next Sunday, and I'll have some guests coming onto the show pretty soon. I just wanted to give my perspective before I get into my guests. So, all right, you guys, have a fantastic week. I love you all. Love and peace to the Black community.